Guys, Trevor here with High Desert Tactical, and I'm back from vacation, and I had a good time, and I really appreciate all the comments and communication I got while I was gone. I wasn't able to make any videos, but I did try to keep up on what's going on and answer any questions if anybody had any. And this is a quick video about my Spikes Tactical heavy buffer for my AR-15, the M&P 15 that I have. So this is the buffer itself. I've already put it in and used it, but I just kind of give you an idea what it looks like in the package. So that's the bad boy right there. I got mine from Primary Arms for about 25 bucks shipped on sale. They usually are about 35 to 40 with a little bit of shipping. Sometimes Primary Arms has a really good shipping deal. A lot of times they'll do free shipping. So that's where I get mine, and you'll hear me talk about primaryarms.com a lot, very often. It's one of my favorite websites to get accessories for my rifles and things. So quick, we'll just kind of give a rundown on the buffer. So the Spikes Tactical buffer is twice the weight of your standard buffer that comes in most AR platforms, especially the 223. The one thing about it is it has a tungsten powder in it, which is really cool. It's a uniform powder, and when it moves through the cylinder, it keeps a symmetrical movement, which keeps this from giving weird cycling or chattering. And it also, since the powder is like very, very dense, when the buffer hits the back of the buffer tube, the powder actually still is moving and then can absorb a portion of the impact, so you get a cycler or a smoother follow through, which gives you a lot better target acquisition or reacquisition after firing. It also limits your recoil and keeps you in a finer group. It's a very small step to getting a little bit finer, but it's a very inexpensive way to do it. So that's it. I mean, it's pretty unique. You got your Spike Tactical spider, and it's engraved in there, so it's not paint or anything. It actually doesn't go anywhere. That's out of billeted aluminum. It's machined. So that's the puppy. So let's tear it down real quick and throw this guy in there. And for those of you who already know how to do it or whatever, but we'll just do a quick one because I got to show you something else. Excuse me. So pull your teardown pin, break that puppy apart. So those who are new to pulling ARs apart, you will see, so here's your buffer, and here's a pin right here. This pin... Okay, hold on. Let's not get ahead of ourselves too much. So now when you're pushing down that pin to remove the buffer and spring, you don't need to remove the spring all the way, but you want to keep your hand on the buffer, or keep your fingers close up to that buffer as you're pushing that pin down, because it will want to fly out a little bit. So there is some tension there, so you want to just be cognizant not to let that puppy kind of fly out and like bang up your hammer of your or whatever. I mean, it wouldn't cause much damage, but it would be a kind of embarrassing to have that thing fly out. So be careful doing that. All right, let's get back to what I was talking about. And you actually can push down, and the buffer will come out. So if I grab onto it and I push with my finger here, this buffer should come out. Boom, there it is. This spring, you don't need to have the spring pull all the way out to get the buffer out. This little lip right here, this lip, will actually bind into there with the factory, so you can actually press it all the way through the spring if you want. The Spikes Tactical is actually a little bit smaller, so it just sits right in there. It doesn't actually bite or anything. So grab onto that puppy, slide her in place, push on it, and there she goes. She's in place. That's it. Man, wasn't that simple? So lock her down, and you're good to go. So that's the Spikes Tactical buffer loaded up in there. You got your factory in. Now the quick thing I want to show you is when I was moving that buffer around, you notice that there's no sound. It's full of powder. But now listen. You hear that? So I think there's 2 or 3 weights in here. They're just like little, I don't know, they look like little pellets or whatever, and they just take up, and they actually rattle around in there. And that's actually supposed to help the gun cycle too, because as the buffer's cycling, the weights are kind of absorbing some of the kinetic energy as they're moving through here, and that does make a big difference. But the one thing about it is it's noisy, and like if you're shooting, especially if you're a guy like me where I like to rest my cheek on the rifle when I'm shooting, you can hear it cycling a lot louder. And so this this baby rattle is what I call it. It'll actually get rid of the baby rattle completely, and that's one of the benefits about it. So the other thing too is I had somebody ask me about the wanting to replace the buffer spring, and I definitely don't encourage people replacing the buffer spring right off the bat, because the factory buffer springs are just as good as an aftermarket, in my opinion, for the price. I mean, you can spend a lot of money and get a finer spring if you want, but they're always going to rub inside the buffer tube, so it's never going to really quiet down the gun, because that spring's always going to rub inside that tube and you're going to hear that. But this is one way to eliminate that noise, by replacing that buffer with a tactical ST-T2, and that's a really good buffer to do it with. There are other ones that are liquid filled and some other ones that are filled like solid filled, and they kind of change the way the cycling is, but the Spike Tactical is probably the best bang for your dollar. So, but that's my quick video today. I might get one more in, but my vacation was really good, and I really appreciate the subscribers that I've gotten since I've been gone. And I want to give a big thank you to Scoot8317 for the shout out that he gave me in Shermandale's 400 sub contest. Shermandale's got a great channel, and I'm really glad that he's up to 400 subs, and he's a great guy. And Scoot is also a really good guy, and I appreciate his shout out. It meant a lot to me. It's a big deal. So everybody, I want to thank you, and if you have any questions or anything you want to know about or anything that I can do for you, you just give me a shout, okay? So this is Trevor, the High Desert Tactical, and I'll catch you on the flip side and see if I can get one more video done. Alright, take care.